You know, when I look at Disney and I take a good look at all of their divisions over there under their lack of leadership by Bob Iger, Disney is really nothing more than an outhouse at this point in time. Yes, it is, because when we look at things like Walt Disney Animation Studios, Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel Studios, failure after failure, over and over again. It's a vicious cycle. We all witnessed what happened back in 2023, and this year is looking to be no different based on what has already happened with some of their TV shows and their upcoming films, and 2025 is going to be full of expensive failures. We all know it, and they all know it. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So Ryan Reynolds, he has been a fighter. He has been defending Deadpool 3 through and through, specifically for the third act mainly, and this is exactly why I say that this movie is quite possibly going to be an up and down emotional roller coaster. Most of the film went their way. Alright, Ryan was able to do what he wanted to do for most of the movie, but some scenes got cut out, and specific moments that had really, extreme violence in the eyes of Disney got completely watered down. And the third act, Disney is trying to push their DEI agenda in there. So if things keep going the way that they really are, you may very well witness a film that's going to be very much mixed with tons of different results. You might have portions that are very good, other portions that are very lackluster and mediocre. Now, when you look at stuff like this, everything related to Ryan Reynolds and the whole She-Hulk situation, things just got worse when it comes to actress Tatiana Maslany. Let's get into all of this, shall we? Now, specifically, of course, with the Deadpool 3 drama only getting worse for the creators behind the film and the Disney higher-ups in the constant shakeup over the third act of the film, one crucial development has much to do with Ryan Reynolds and She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany. One significant push that Disney was in pursuit of was to insert the She-Hulk character into the third act of the film. However, some updates surrounding the She-Hulk situation have only gotten way worse. As it turns out, the back and forth battle that took place between Ryan and the Disney heads to remove She-Hulk, which eventually was successful, mind you, involved Reynolds putting his foot down and giving Disney an ultimatum that he was willing to back out of every other deal that were in the talks at the time over at Disney. In this process, it all led up to the very moment that Ryan demanded Tatiana Maslany would be removed from the third act, in which Ryan was given full liberty to fire her from the production. It turns out the scenes were more extensive than previously thought, that she was going to be more or less of a minor supporting character within the third act, since it did involve more scenes in the script revisions that took place just after the WGA strike came to a close before the SAG strike was over. Now, Disney had forced Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick to write scenes that not only involved Wade Wilson in need of a lawyer, but the scenes also reportedly involved cringeworthy dialogue that mocked Wade Wilson in the scene when he steps into her office. Another sequence that got removed and deleted as requested by Ryan Reynolds before Tatiana was established to get removed was furious over how that involved a moment in which She-Hulk actually fights Deadpool in a one-on-one 30-second fight in the middle of an alleyway in a city that appeared to be either New York or Toronto. The sequence involved Deadpool eventually getting tossed in a dumpster by She-Hulk, followed by dialogue that essentially mocked the character even further. Both Rhett, Paul, and Ryan were said to have a heated exchange with Disney over how misplaced the scenes were and the dialogue direction that was forced from Disney onto the writers, generally speaking. So guys, let me just stop here quick. Now, Disney basically told, Ryan, Paul, and Rhett the general direction that they wanted to take these scenes for She-Hulk, Deadpool / Wade Wilson, and you can only imagine what was going through their minds at the time when they were being put into that scenario of shoehorning She-Hulk in there. This seemingly comes across as Disney kind of doing something to throw it in your face. Oh, you didn't like She-Hulk? Well, here she is in Deadpool 3. That's kind of like what it's coming across as, but who's to say, right? Now, when you look at stuff like this, too, when you look at She-Hulk and everything related to how Season 2 is in the can, it's not happening anymore. Even Tatiana was very much angered about that. She even blamed a portion of the fans, specifically the toxic male demographic, not a big shocker there. However, this led Reynolds convincing Disney to cancel all plans for filming the She-Hulk scenes, some of which were, of course, rehearsed between Reynolds and Tatiana briefly in studio in front of a green screen for test shots, but that was about it before Ryan was the one who made the call to empty the scenes into the entire trash. Now further, Tatiana was infuriated with Ryan over her fight scene with Deadpool getting deleted. The specifics of that sequence was that Deadpool was looking for the Hulk, for some reason, for advice about time travel and the multiverse. So here's another thing, guys, is that we know that this movie is gonna meddle, and I say it's gonna meddle with the multiverse. Something that a lot of people have differing opinions on, and that's fine. You know, I know a lot of people are just very tired of the multiverse and stuff like that. But you gotta take it from this point of view, is that there's been a lot of directions by Ryan, Paul, and Rhett to establish that, to insert some of the cameos that fans have wanted to see on the screen for years. So that's basically kind of their way of making that really possible. And it really still brings things up to question the Wolverine that we're getting in this film. This has not been answered yet. This is something that has been very vague, especially throughout all of production, on whether or not it's even the same Wolverine, right? That's something that a lot of people have been asking, and we have, of course, gone over this before in the past, but the whole yellow suit and the mask that he's about to sport in this film is really the selling point of Deadpool 3. There's no doubt about that. Now, Tatiana, alright, is already having a meltdown behind the scenes over Ryan's decision since she was axed from She-Hulk Season 2, with those plans no longer moving forward by Kevin Feige, and that her role in Deadpool 3 was going to be a foot in the door further to appear in the MCU on the big screen this time that will not be happening any further. So you could only imagine why Tatiana would be so angered by Ryan and the Disney heads. This was basically her opportunity, and I'm not defending her by any means, but it was her opportunity to take a step up from the She-Hulk TV series to She-Hulk on the big screen. That's basically what Disney wanted to do with Deadpool 3, to give that character the opportunity to go into theaters, to kind of boost the familiarity, see if the demand would rise, and then move forward with a Season 2. And obviously that whole thing was botched. Now, obviously, when you look at Deadpool 3, it's not looking good when it comes to the third act. We already know this. We've talked about this. They do have some reshoots planned for the end of March leading into April. That's going to span a couple of weeks, and that's going to basically be a tight squeeze because they're still aiming for that July release date window. I keep bringing this up, yes I know, but this movie is very tight production-wise. They're not done filming yet, and yet they also still have pickup shots after that, and some reshoots, and the writers are still fighting Disney to prevent any DEI nonsense getting spilled into the third act through those said reshoots. So again, when you look at everything that's happening with Ryan Reynolds, this is his baby, he's trying to protect it at all costs, and so far he's been doing an okay job at that. You know, Disney has caved a couple of times here and there. So overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.